Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu, and I come on Monday through Friday on Noon Vibe here and talk about the Tao Te Ching. We utilize the Tao sort of as an oracle. I have you come up and pick a number between 1 and 81 because the Tao Te Ching consists of 81 chapters. Each of the chapters is fairly short. I don't think any of them are over 250 words. And so we read through it, and after getting a baseline, after chatting with you about like what's going on in your life, we pick a number. And we go through that number from that perspective. If you're having some issues or if things are going well or whatever's going on with you right now, whatever you happen to mention and whatever we can glom onto, we utilize that and utilize it as an oracle to kind of shift a little bit of the focus, shift our mindset a little bit, shift how we're seeing the situations that we're dealing with from the aspect of the Tao Te Ching. Now, the Tao, I mean, people have often asked me, like, what is Tao? And the best way to describe it is just Tao is universal consciousness. It's sort of the thing that holds us all together. Like, my consciousness is contributing to it. Your consciousness is contributing to it. And we live our lives to have these experiences that contribute to the grand consciousness of the universe. And that is the nature of everything. Now, when I say you and I, we might kind of limit that idea to human beings, right? Human beings are having these experiences. But, the reality is that everything is having an experience, right? Blades of grass are having experiences and animals are having experiences, and they're contributing to that universal consciousness as well. Hello, Cadence? Sometimes people join and aren't exactly sure. They don't always want to join. Cadence, I think that's your name, Cadence Martin. You're up on stage with me, and if you wanted to chat, we can. Sometimes people got to set up their microphone and do other things. Sometimes people just join on accident. So usually what I do is I give people a couple moments to be able to join, and if they don't, I'll take them off, and and if you wanted to join, and if I'm taking you off too soon, you just come right back up. I'm going to go ahead and swap you out for Julie. Julie's in line. If you don't know how this works, you can listen to Julie and I, and you can kind of catch up. Hey, Julie, how you doing?
I'm all right. I joined your talk, was it yesterday or the day before? And I got a phone call, so I wasn't able to come up and say hello. I apologize.
No, quite all right. I didn't even notice.
That's good.
Yeah, if I'm talking to someone, I try and stay as present as I can. I don't try and get ahead of myself too much.
I agree. I think that's a pretty wise move there, Martin John.
Yeah. Right.
So the sun's shining here.
Where are you now? Are you doing another set?
I'm in Hampshire still with Bobby, MB, and Gracie.
Oh, nice.
My favourites, Bobby being my boyfriend, of course. Don't tell Brad.
Oh, no.
But yeah, he's just coming over now to say hello, Bobby. Ooh, yeah. And then, so we're sat here in the sun. Cats are out in the garden, coming back in as we're talking because they want to be nosy. Who's in the house? I can hear a man's voice.
Someone's talking.
Where's it coming from? We're going to go and investigate. But it's a lovely sunny day. I'm just sat. They've got, in the house I'm in, they've got 1/4 2 walls of folding doors from ceiling to floor. And it lets this glorious sunshine in and blue sky. It's really open, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
It's like being indoors, but being outdoors at the same time. So I've got the doors open. I'm just listening to the birds, watching the yellow butterfly float past, and just enjoying the scenery. And I've got a subject today, Martin John, something that's popped up.
A subject? Wow. Okay, let's see where this goes.
That I would like to discuss with the everything, with the Tao.
Yeah.
And the subject is false crowns. When we
I mean, like dental work.
No. But that's a good point. I have got dentist.
Yeah.
Good thinking, Batman. No, what I mean is when we feel that we've got these accolades going on for us, I mean, for me, it would be like, writing this book and this journey and everything. And what came into my peripherals yesterday was this young man, he's 35. He's traveling with his dog. He's gone from Hopton-on-Sea all the way down to Cairnley over winter time. And now he's doing the Albion line, which is something else we kind of planned but not got around to quite yet. He's doing the Albion line. I'm just like, why has that suddenly come to my peripherals? And I felt kind of a little bit, I'd better write this book bloody quick because my crown is going to be stolen. Do you know what I mean? And it's this idea of having a false crown. So, kind of thinking along the lines as well of likes and things on these social media sites, algorithms pointing in your direction, and boosting you up for you to be wearing a false crown that you don't know at the time is a false crown. It's very interesting stuff. And I'm kind of grappling with that today. What is that about? Why has that sentence come up to me today? Why am I thinking about that today? Interesting. So with that,
it's like so much of this is about, I'm a second born.
Yeah, middle child, always the most balanced.
one of the things that it's interesting as I've gone through my life, when I'm doing something that is purely me, purely mine, I'm excited about it. And then I find that someone has done something like this before.
Yeah.
And my energy behind it.
Or after as well.
Well, sure. But when I kind of get when I have, this has happened to me multiple times in my life. And I don't know that I care so much anymore, but I think I've just become even more myself, right?
Yes.
So it's almost impossible for somebody to do what I do.
That's
even
right.
on this show,
Yeah.
I mean, I talk about the Tao Te Ching every day on this show, but I talk about it from my own translation, right? I talk about it in my own way, and I talk about it on, and so it's almost as if I'm untouchable because I have separated myself to such a degree from anything else, anything external, almost. So when I was younger, I used to get excited about things that I thought were, this is such a good idea, and this is my idea, and I'm moving in that direction. And then I find out, like 30 years ago, someone did this thing that I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, well then it would inevitably happen that my energy behind it would wane. And it's interesting when that happens. It's kind of like, you think you're doing a thing, and in your explanation, it was almost like, well, if I'm not the first one to do it, or if I'm not going to do it, or now there's someone else doing it, and so my accolades are going to be watered down because this other person is going to get theirs too. And what that really is, and what I was doing, and what you're kind of talking about, is turning your true nature into a commodity. And if I were to pick a Tao that would speak to this, it would probably be that one, number 48, The More You Know. Pursuing knowledge. Go on.
What I've said is the fact that this person, this is just a thought, even everyone in the world could do what I did. Mm-hmm. But the only experience that I had was my own. So it's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the thing that I'm noticing with this wonderful, absolutely lovely guy as well, he had so much more air time, if you like. So many more people knew he was doing this thing. So many more people supported him in this thing. It's so weird to see. But that was his journey, you see. That's his. Right. So it's so different to the one that I did because it was quiet, really, to an extent. You know, it's quiet. I tried to make it loud. It didn't happen.
Yeah. And I feel like the same, you know, happens with, like, I mean, I have become accustomed to my things just being quiet.
Yeah,
you know,
just and that's because, okay. Yeah,
and I think that if we were to look at if you don't mind, we can read 48.
Yeah, I like 48. It's good. Yeah.
You know, so pursuing knowledge, knowing things, you accumulate daily, turning your true nature into a commodity. Pursuing Tao, you unburden daily, allowing your true nature to guide you. The master unburdens herself again and again, diminishing, releasing, and deprogramming until finally there is nothing left to be. When there is nothing to be, there is nothing to do, and everything gets accomplished regardless. You see, the story you're telling about this person, I don't know this person. I don't know this.
Oh, he's a lovely guy. He's only 35. He's got a great story. Yeah.
So he's carrying with him his story.
Yes.
He's carrying with him his identity. He's carrying with him all the burdens of what he is. In what you're telling me. So pursuing knowledge, you accumulate daily. He is accumulating daily. He's accumulating his audience.
Yeah.
He's accumulating his support. He is accumulating everything, and everyone's backing him as an identity.
Yeah.
Right? So pursuing knowledge, you accumulate, turning your true nature into a commodity. He was inspired at some point to do a thing, and he turned that thing into a commodity. Now he's sold that commodity to people, and he is on a path to have to continue being that which he has sold.
That's right, yes. Yeah.
The master unburdens herself again and again. So the master keeps changing. She doesn't have an audience, because if that audience wanted something from her, she'd be obliged to give
provide,
that to them.
Yes.
Right. But she gets to diminish, release, and deprogram all of those identities that she has picked up previously. And she can be who she is until finally there is nothing left to be. And when there is nothing to be, there is nothing to do. You don't have to keep it up. You don't have to keep in touch with your audience. You don't have to keep doing these things one after another, because without those things, you are letting people down. You're letting yourself down. You don't know who you are because you have sold yourself as a commodity to the world. You are now in the world as a specific identity. And when there's nothing to be, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit in the sun and enjoy the carrots.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, it's lovely.
And then everything gets accomplished regardless. So you'll get another sit, and you'll get paid somewhere along the line, and you'll get some audience, and you'll
sleep.
You'll eat, you'll sleep, you'll experience the rain and the shine and the snow, and you'll have a relationship that will continue to ebb and flow and change, and you will grow and mature with all of that. And
until
you won't have to
like a little withered old tree.
And you won't have to be anything, and you won't have to accomplish anything because but everything gets accomplished because you are able to be who you are.
Yeah.
And so it's not that so what you're, the frustration is often,
I'm looking at people wearing these supreme crowns. And the supreme.
Well, that's just a label or an identity.
Yeah, it's what they do. It's not them. It's what
not them.
They do. Yeah, there's a difference.
Right.
And I just not keen to chase that. Thanks.
Right. And well,
I always have been that way.
It's an odd thing, right? Because it's like, well, I don't want to chase that, but I would like the security that I am imagining comes with that.
I don't know if you even want that.
Oh, okay. Well, like oftentimes people want that security, want that money, or want that support, or want that that ability to reach out and feel like they're being heard because they're not listening to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of it is, it's more of a thing about, do I need to have a crown to be heard? Do I need to have this identity to be seen? It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Well, and that's the thing.
Fits, love. There's no crown it fits. It'd be wonky. It would be too small, too big.
and for many people, especially younger people today, younger people like, millennials and all of those, younger people, 30s and younger or whatever, early 40s and stuff. So many of those people, like they have been shown to pursue knowledge and to turn their true nature into a commodity. Meaning, like, if you love doing this, do it for a job.
Yeah.
And it's like,
right, yeah.
But what I love doing is living. Right? I don't like, I make art sometimes. I talk about the Tao sometimes. I work with clients sometimes. I do digital, like, database stuff sometimes. And I love doing all of those things, but none of that is, I don't turn that into a commodity. I don't try and turn that into my identity. I just do what I do. And like the Tao says, move on. It isn't mine anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And then, at the end of this,
sitting here in the sun with 3 cats, and I'm on a payroll here, which is lovely. My goodness, you couldn't ask for this. I couldn't sit down and write a CV to say, I'm going to just have such a wonderful time, and you're going to pay me.
Right. You're not planning your next post so that you can engage your audience. And you just dropped off. If you want to come back up, of course you could. And you're not planning the next video you have to make to tell people what you're doing. You just have to be here with your cats and your life. And then this is where it's like when there is nothing to be, because you don't have to be anything. You don't have to be online. You don't have to be, traveling. You don't have to be, achieving anything.
Nope.
So when there is nothing to be, there's nothing to do. So you can just sit here. And then when you get inspired to write, or when you get inspired to answer a question, or when you get inspired to make a post, or when you get inspired to, go shopping and talk to somebody, or when you get inspired to go pick some dandelions out of the yard, like, that's going to bring you to the next place you need to go. And that is how the next thing is going to get accomplished. So everything gets accomplished regardless of you having to identify, of you having to create an identity around who you think you're supposed to be in the world, and then create a following that then creates, that which you need to accumulate every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all of that. That is what I see, in all of this. But I still can't stop, Martin John, myself wanting to tell people.
Wanting to tell people what?
That's that crown you're wearing. It's not you. It's what you do.
the drive to want to tell people is because you want to tell yourself that.
Yeah,
when you were younger, or you want to
truth.
remind yourself.
Yeah. It's like
that's what it is.
Tell people my truth, but my truth isn't interesting to other people. Only their truth is.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. It's lovely to.
And then we get caught up. We definitely do get caught up.
Yeah.
In the. And it's not our fault. Like this morning, I woke up real early and I already cooked a roast and I've done all of this stuff this morning. And there was a time
for lunch.
and there was about 45 minutes in there where I was like, I really probably just should have, what I would have preferred me do is just sit on the couch and wait and set an alarm and wait for my show to start. But I just started clicking around online. And then I started noticing that my nervous system was getting a little heightened. I wasn't watching anything specific, but I wasn't watching anything that, like I needed to watch. I was just killing time.
Yeah, there's an actual feel in your body, actually.
Right.
I've noticed when that, when you, and you go, oh, I'm not enjoying this.
Right. And the same thing happens when we look out at the world and start doing all that measuring, and we look out at the world and we see this 35-year-old bloke and he's like doing something that maybe we did, and we start comparing, and
he's doing it better.
Right. And so what ends up happening is we start telling this story deep inside of our mind well before we're even aware of it.
Yeah.
And then it starts to heighten our nervous system, right? It heightens the response, the fight and flight and all of these sorts of like sympathetic nervous system and all of that. And we get tense. And then we start to, that story grows unbeknownst to us. Just like while I'm clicking around and I'm not watching anything specific, but there's something happening in my system that is detrimental to my health.
Yeah.
And the same thing is happening when you're talking with somebody that's done something you've done and is getting all and you are perceiving at least that they are getting these accolades and they're getting things that you didn't get, right? And then that could definitely speak back to your being an orphan and you being like, see, other people have parents. I was an orphan, right? Other people have this. I was this. And so this separates you from that experience and it puts you in this position of not judging him, but you're judging yourself, like you're judging your situation.
What I'm looking at is the effort he has to put into this. And it is an effort. It is... the guy could be, he's got a lovely hammock he set out underneath like an awning rather than a tent. And he's recording on his phone, his morning getting up. Now, before that, you can see that he's had to set the phone up on a stand, point it to his general direction, then start recording when he's back in his sleeping bag in his hammock. So I can see all of that, and I'm thinking, look at all that effort when really we just got up and we just sat for a moment to gauge where we were. We were present, and that's why it's a different journey. It's a different journey the guy's on.
It's absolutely a different journey.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean... It doesn't mean anything.
Nothing away from ours.
It takes nothing away from yours. It takes nothing away from his.
Yes.
And we don't know, we don't know his experience. So we read this number 48. We read this number 48 and say, pursuing knowledge you accumulate daily, turning your true nature into a commodity. He may very well be doing that, but he may not.
That's right.
He may very well be unburdening, but we don't know his experience. That's why we can't judge his experience as being. We can't measure it. We can't sit here and say, well, he's pursuing knowledge and accumulating, you're pursuing Tao and unburdening. We don't know that. You and within your experience, you may be accumulating knowledge and at turning your true nature into a commodity. He may be the one that is allowing his true nature to guide him. We don't know. So it's all within the experience. And when we feel like we're judging another person, or when we and I don't know that you are, it's just
oh God, this has been a long going battle. And for 6 years now, John, John, we've been talking about me trying to throw this measuring stick away.
Right, and so your experience being the most important thing and the only thing that you can know is true is like, oh, well, this is the direction you want to go, and you're actually happy with this. So why the discontent when when you feel like when you feel that tension in your gut.
This is what I'm trying to get to here. Is,
that tension in your gut telling you that you're going to be irrelevant, right?
That's the one. Yeah.
So that's the truth for your experience, and that irrelevance may very well be connected to, needing to stand out when you were in the orphanage, needing to, wanting to, I think back to like 6 years ago when you were a nurse and you were doing all the stuff and then you were going to leave and you were going to do the ley line and then all of the things. And then it's like you've changed your life significantly, and it's your life, I think, and you are so much better off with the experiences that you've had.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But those experiences have, run the gamut from, super uncomfortable to like you're living the high life, like sitting in the sun in a great property with some cats, and like life is easy, but it's also, just the path that you're on.
Yeah. And the thing is it's beautiful whether I'm here or whether I'm waking up in the van,
right,
in some lay-by somewhere, and poor old Brad gets put on to make a cup of tea. Sometimes it's raining and he doesn't want to, and it's claustrophobic in there. There's no windows. But hey, it's
and
valid.
This is where the master unburdens herself. You unburden yourself for
go for that experience.
Like
what that's about.
Right. Unburden yourself of the definition of like claustrophobic. Unburden yourself. Diminish, release, and deprogram. This experience is the one you're having. Tomorrow, you'll have the experience that you're having then.
That's right.
Until finally, there is nothing left to be. There's nothing that you have to be, and who knows the experience of this other guy who maybe he has to wake up and be something specific, which is why he's got to wake up, set up his phone, and maybe all of that. Maybe he is just guided to do that right now. Great.
Yeah, maybe he wants to share the journey for reasons.
Right. And we don't know the evolution.
Same charity, by the way.
What's that? Same charity?
Same charity, yeah.
Well, good.
Mental health. Yeah, it's
so,
good.
So then
I read that and I thought, that's a great thing. And who knows? You may have heard about our journey.
Yeah. It's, it might very well be that you inspired this, and then he's going to inspire someone else.
Correct.
Who's going to be younger and is going to have different gear and is going to be able to do, but it's your life that's most important, and for you, and
it's
so
all added to the Tao, basically. Like you were saying at the very beginning, I was listening to you, that everything has an experience. The grass has an experience, the tree, the butterfly that flew across, the cats, me, this guy, Brad, you all are experiencing this moment in our own way, and it's lovely. I don't know where that goes, but I'm
and
does it have to go anywhere?
Right. And the thing is you won't. No, you only know where that you're having your experience. We don't know why we're having this experience. We don't, like that whole idea of like, what's the meaning of life, right?
Yeah, curiosity is the word that springs to mind for me.
Yeah.
I am full of curiosity. What's that about?
when we can just live a curious life, it just stays so interesting.
Yeah.
And it
really
keeps
does.
us engaged, and it's like, and when we can question, like earlier today when I was like, killing time, like looking at stuff online, I'm like, I don't like that I'm doing this. Now, if I take note and I say, okay, if I don't like that I'm doing that, what can I do instead? I could sit and just kind of feel into my body. I could practice my Spanish because I'm going to Spain.
I know. When you go in? Sorry.
A month yesterday, so 24th, the 24th of March.
Oh, well, we've got a little gap, Martin John. We've got a little gap in our pet sitting through April from March. So you might get some company. That would be hilarious. That would be brilliant at the same time. Be a lot cheaper for us to see you in Spain than it would
than
for us
in the States, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to bear that in mind, Martin John.
Yeah, keep it in mind. So, like there are things that, when I can recognize I don't like that, I am doing a thing, I can adjust. I can just switch. I can just, I can take note.
Yeah.
And I can ask myself next time I start like clicking around and be like, if I don't like that I'm doing this, can I stop? You know, and then can I get up, or can I do something that I want to do? Can I invest this time into something that I want to invest this time into? And then just like, and similarly, you can ask yourself that when you're asking the question, like when you're watching this guy's content or whatever it is you're doing, like a reading about this guy or book or whatever, and then you say, okay, well, what's the do I want to follow this guy? I mean, I did this. Like I know what it's like to get up in a sleeping bag. Like I don't need to watch it. Like, and then it's like, oh, I know what my experience is of that.
But maybe I'm going there through the guy. Do you know what I mean? To remember what it's like.
Absolutely.
So maybe giving to me without even knowing about it.
And that's why we ask ourselves, do I like that I'm doing this? Because if I like that I'm doing it, then keep doing it. What's the big deal?
Yeah, just be with it a bit more openly. As you're sitting there talking to me, I'm just thinking of liking that I'm doing this. And I'm sitting at this table and chair, and all I can feel is the warmth of the sun on the skin of my face. And do you know what? I could be anywhere feeling that. Mm-hmm. Isn't that lovely? I could be anywhere and still have that feeling, the sun on my face. As long as the sun agrees. But yeah, thank you so much, Martin John, for giving me so much time today. And it's been lovely.
Thank you.
I'll see you in Spain.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. It is such a wonderful... it's so good to be able to just be curious about how you're thinking and seeing the world around you. Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing great, Martin John. How about you?
I'm good. I've noticed recently, like, I don't know if you've always said this, but like recently, like, and this isn't anything other than like I've noticed, like, when you say, how about you? Like you say, how about you? Like chew. And like, I've just noticed that in your, like, it seems like a very chill sort of like very, very relaxed language from you. And you've seemed, more, I don't know, just more, less formal. I don't know, which is good.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm having a struggle today. These struggles, I'm not sure what the lesson is I'm supposed to learn for it. Maybe, like Julie and you were just discussing, I just wish I could find time to just be. It feels like there's so much packed and not, so much that I have to do, the hoops that I have to jump through, the measurement, the people not liking the measurement being questioned, being called to the office about the measurement. It's just, I want some time to sit with the sun on my face.
Yeah. I'm just opening up some space. You know, it's hard when we wake up in the morning and the first thing we're doing is stressing.
Yep, that feeling, that tenseness, and the not wanting to face the things that you know are ahead of you. It's not fun.
Yeah. You know, measurement is so much of your work.
Yep.
Revolves around measurement. And that was one of the reasons, probably, that you were attracted to the work that you do. Because measurement shows, like, you can't deny success when you're measuring all the time and when you have certain metrics that you are measuring, you know. And I think having sort of a nebulous understanding of what success looks like is not something that you want to know that you're good at your job. You want to know from the outside, from these numbers, that you're making a difference. And over the last couple of years, you've been stepping away from measurement more and more. And so it's increasingly difficult to step back into measurement and have it cooperate. Because you know that you're successful. Even if the numbers don't necessarily always agree with that on the surface. You know, like there's that one Tao that says, you know, progress doesn't always seem to advance. You know, sometimes it doesn't look like it's moving forward, and you know that you're getting through to your children. You know that there's cracks in the facades because they're expanding, and yet it doesn't look that way on paper right now, maybe. And so parents and principals are like, whoa, well, what's happening? And you're like, look, I know there's progress being made. And I don't know if what I'm saying resonates or if it's even...
Oh, yeah, it definitely does.
You know, what you're thinking about and what you're dealing with. Because, I mean, we're still like just kind of talking in code a bit. And, you know, because we can't go into the details. There's always too many details to go into anyway. Right. You know,
it's but when stupid any freaking way,
well, right? You know, and
it's so stupid.
And in the end of all this, you know, all of the children that you're teaching are going to have turned the corners that they need to turn, and they're going to be invited to continue to mature and grow. And you know, it's almost like you've trusted in the mystery to get you to this place, and then everyone that's measuring you needs those numbers still.
Numbers are not my friend, Martin John.
I'm telling you, you know, and as those numbers are demanded, you're sort of like, you're missing so much. You're missing so much. And it's like, and your work becomes increasingly difficult and increasingly laborious.
Yeah.
Because they're looking for numbers that you sort of realized don't give an accurate measurement of what's happening.
Yeah. You definitely have hit the nail on the head, my friend. That's exactly what I'm facing.
And one of the things that frustrates me about the situation that you find yourself is that great teachers like yourself often have to leave the most needy children, because the institutions that the public institutions, the institutions that have really great teachers, work at odds against the greatest of the teachers because they only look at numbers. And in private institutions, they have more leeway to be able to allow different approaches. And they have the space, and they're not overcrowded. They're not, the children have more resources, and the principals have more time, and they have more leeway to be able to work. And that's something that I think about a lot, because great teachers are often pushed out of institutions that need those great teachers because of this sort of thing exactly. Not that you're being pushed out in any way, but it's hard for you to feel successful in an environment that is constantly asking you to measure up to something that is that you're working well above. Like you're working above. Like I would, just for what I would think, I don't know, like you're connecting with your students in ways that don't have to do with numbers. You're connecting with your students in ways that are, deeply caring. And in institutions that, are funded by the county or the state or the city, often just need to get your numbers in. And you need to get your numbers up. And in order to get your numbers up, you have to forget about connecting with your child. Forget about connecting with your students, because that takes too much time.
Yeah.
And that's where we, that's as a society, that's what we've done. When we say no child left behind, that's because every child is left behind. Mm-hmm. And they are just left alone to fend for themselves. It was never about, and standardized testing isn't about, it's just about proving that all of our students, in Chicago, when we wanted good standardized tests, we'd have the children stay home that wouldn't do well on the test.
Right.
That's easy. Right. And when we look at the Dow and when we say, people make rules, they expend energy to get around them. That's exactly what we do. We make these rules and then we expend energy to get around the rules. You say, okay, have these 10 children stay home, and then we'll raise our school test numbers. That's it. That's all we have to do. And that's what happened. That's what happened across the country. And you know better.
I do indeed, my friend.
And then you connect with your children. You connect with those students. And you give those students a reason to want to learn. And you give them a reason to accept failure when it happens, so that they can continue to push themselves, so they know that they can learn. And not just brush it under the rug and say, well, we'll just move this over. We'll just carry the two another time. That's it. And it's like, well, that's not helping anybody. Oh, but we get funding. Okay, so it helps you get funding, but now this child is going to get moved forward, but they're not ready to move forward. Don't we care about that? Don't we care about, like, is passing a grade more important than learning what was supposed to be there?
Unfortunately, I think to a lot of people it is, Martin John, and it's a sad state of affairs.
And that's what, and that's what we're saying, like when you have those children stay home and not take the test so your numbers go up so that you can get funding. It's like, wait a minute. Why is funding and test scores connected? I understand the conservative argument, but it doesn't really wash. As many conservative arguments don't wash, but you want to pick a number?
Would you like to pick one for me? That would be great.
Yeah. Number 66, leading from behind.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. There are great benefits to humility. All rivers flow to the sea because its position is lower. The master emulates this by always being a servant. And you are a servant, right? You're a servant to your children, and you're a servant to, your superiors.
Yeah, I am.
Inspiring from below, leading from behind. No one is oppressed. They find their own way. Like rivers, so too will the people flow to the master, never feeling oppressed or as if they are in danger. The whole world supports her and keeps her in their hearts. Without a reason or desire to compete, she is never met with competition. We talk a lot about surrendering and not submitting. And that's all I can really leave you with in terms of like the idea of humility. I don't want you to submit to the abuses of parents, nor to the abuses of the institution under which you are employed. But you do have to surrender to the idea that these numbers are part of the trade-off to be able to work with this population. Now, there may be opportunities for you to work in other populations. There may be opportunities in the future. Maybe you're just like, maybe this isn't going to be it for you. Maybe there is a change that you need to make in terms of how you want to teach. Because if you want to teach in a certain way, you may very well be able to teach in that certain way, but it might not be in the institution or in the, in the county's service. Because the county only wants those numbers. And as you continue to see yourself, you're able to also see these children. And you're able to see how special these children are and how unfortunate it is when we condemn them to be measured by some random tests. You dropped off. If you wanted to come back up, you can. I love that so many of my listeners are teachers, and I'm grateful for that. But I also know how abused teachers get in our society. Sandy, how are you, dear?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I feel for her because I left a 25-year career because of exactly what she just said. Yeah. And you can't measure love and care and commitment. And the people who feel deeply, I think when we're measured by a number, it's almost like somebody's knifing us in the stomach. It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel for her because I had to leave my career because of that.
Yeah.
And you know what? You do pivot. You do pivot to something else. And now my present job is doing the same thing. And I'm like, the same feeling I had for, the 6-figure job is now what I have for a job that I'm making like half the amount. And I'm like, so you're just like, oh dear God. So I was successful prior to them going to a number based, right?
Right.
They were happy with me. Now they're questioning. And I'm like, seriously?
It's like,
so,
I know what I'm doing here. Like,
yeah. So guess what? I decided this is my last year.
Yeah.
I decided I'm not doing it.
We have to pivot. And one of the things with students and with teachers, and this is the sad thing, is like the public school system here in the United States, it's expressed differently in the UK. So for anybody, public school system, here, the schools that are open and free to, the people in the area, those are the students that need great teachers.
Yes.
But those are the institutions that push great teachers out for mediocre teachers that just give you your numbers.
Yeah.
And don't care one iota. And I'm not trying to say that they don't really care, but they're burned out.
Yeah.
So they can't care. Yeah. They're burned out to the point, and that's the thing. Like, Melissa's here struggling because she's being burned out.
Right.
And that's going to push her out of the place that she's most needed.
Right. Yeah, she will leave.
Eventually, she won't have a choice.
No, she has to choose herself. And that's where I was.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I had to choose myself. I was going down fast, and I was like, you know what?
You got to choose your health. You got to choose your mindset. You got to choose all of those things. And if you decide to stay in those situations, then you're just choosing abuse.
Right. And that's how I felt. It was emotional, verbal. It was ugly. And the year prior to me leaving, I was the manager of the region, high functioning, and I was just like, this is unacceptable. The amount of abuse we're taking. I just was like, doesn't feel good, went on forever. And burnout happened where I was just like, you know what? I'd rather starve.
I'm telling you, like, it gets to that point. It gets that extreme. Like, I know, like I'm lucky because, through all of my addiction and stuff, I knew what it looked like when I abused myself. And so, I can see really clearly when someone else tries to get me to abuse myself in that way. And I just say no. I remember I one time had a therapist who was just like, well, what happens if you get a job and you can't leave because you're making so much money? And I was just like, I would hope I'd be, salient enough to understand that I would leave just on principle alone. Yeah. If I find myself getting cornered, then I'm gonna find an exit plan. For myself, because I'm the thing that's important, not the job, not the money. I have to be the most important thing.
So right now, I'm looking for my exit plan.
That's right, and that's the greatest thing when you can just be like, I have time, and I have space to look for an exit plan, and every day I go into work, it shows me, you know what, this needs to be a priority for me. My exit plan. Good for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, and that's what people need to hear is they will pivot. They're not going to starve and things will be easier on the other side.
Right. You are being held. And all you have to do is sometimes you just have to take that first step in order to see the path lay out in front of you.
Oh, absolutely. So big hugs to her and everyone out there that's feeling that way because it sucks.
Yeah, it sure does.
So, hey, have a great day.
Oh, you're going?
I'm leaving you. I can't do a number. Bye.
All right. Well, love you. We had a wonderful time chatting with you. I don't allow that very often. So next time you're going to have to pick a number. Thank you so much for joining me, Sandy. It is coming to the top of the hour, so I'll go ahead and sign out. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Julie, number 48, Melissa, number 66. Melissa, my heart goes out to you. I hope you have a great day today. Sandy, it's always wonderful to connect with you. Love you, dear. And, for everybody out there, if you benefit from the work I do here on Tao of the Day, definitely check out the links in my profile. We're going to bring JK up, coming in just under the wire. Hey, JK, how are you doing?
Only time. If you don't, I would just.
No, I'm good. Like I was just, no one was in the queue, so I was just.
Yeah. I was just thinking because, everywhere I work, there's some form of measurement and, and I have that currently. And it's like, give me where you're at now with no regard for where it's going, the vision that maybe I have. Because at this level of my career, I've been doing it a long time, and I don't really feel the need to prove that if somebody, doesn't trust me in my position at this point, then that's okay for them, but I trust me in this position. And, I find it interesting and it becomes very hard because it's not quantitative. And these measurements that are points along the line so that you can show this is the progress, right? This is how things unfolded, and where we are, just to be able to take a temperature or whatever. It just becomes secondary. And the actual result that people want, it's not like they don't even think about that. And it's wild to me because I'm on a project and people keep saying, well, where are we with this? And because they're not seeing progress in their eyes. And I said, well, I'm trying to restructure some things and start from a process flow that makes more sense and is more sustainable long term, and communicating that and using that. And, in my experience of doing other projects where we took the approach that you're taking right now, hey, that it didn't work well. And now we're having to redo a lot of that work now because it's not sustainable. It doesn't have a good foundation. And it's just really hard to do that, to communicate that qualitative piece to folks, without firm numbers. And it really creates a big conflict if you are someone who, the result is not secondary. That's primary. Doing the foundation work is primary. And that's kind of what I was thinking about as you were talking to Melissa and, with Julie too, that measurement of, our differences, but our differences are what create the energy and the flow of everything. That's what creates that synergy and that motion. And that's beautiful because her journey speaks so much to somebody. And this guy's journey will speak to somebody else. And then we accomplish something as a whole. The end result becomes even more dynamic because, I hear what you say and it speaks to me in a certain way. If I would have found you 10 years ago, I would have said, yeah, no, that doesn't resonate at all. So it's all about where we are now and whatever develops. It's all perfect in that moment. And it's really hard to see that in a world that prioritizes, measuring at a point that's really irrelevant. So that's all I was thinking about.
Yeah, you got a number?
Nope. Well, yes, I do. It is 67.
67.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 lessons. I think we mentioned this on Monday because we read 69 and 69 references the 3 lessons. Caught in the manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. Others say it is a beautiful idea, but it cannot be achieved. They cannot see it as neither an idea nor something to be achieved. Lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. Tao asks us to live with only three things: compassion, moderation, and humility. With compassion, you will be able to care for all things without having to ask if they deserve it. With moderation, you will be able to be generous without them needing to prove they are worthy of it. With humility, you know you are going to die like all things. Thus, you treat all things with dignity and respect. Abandoning these will only lead to trouble.
Yeah, there was a first part, and I forget the words right now. Maybe can you read it one more time?
Caught in manifestation. Some people say Tao is stupid. Others say it is a beautiful idea, but it cannot be achieved. They cannot see it as neither an idea nor something to be achieved. Lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth.
Yeah, that part that stood out to me. And kind of speaks to what we were just talking about. What were you going to say?
So measurement is a solution, right? Lost in a world of endless solution, they cannot recognize truth. When we talk about Melissa and her experience, we talk about Julie and her experience of, this person who might be an influencer and doing this thing, whatever, all of this stuff. There's all these solutions. There's solutions to educating children. Melissa addresses educating children from her experience and from her heart and from love. And yet the board looks at educating children as a problem. And so they come up with a solution, and that solution may revolve around numbers, may revolve around grades, may revolve around test scores, may revolve around all of these things. So lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. And who's they? Those are the others say Tao is a beautiful idea but cannot be achieved. People that don't know that Tao can be achieved. They don't know that you can follow your own path and it will somehow align with the path of other people. That will align with the path. Just like you were saying, as soon as you think something, the world has changed. As soon as you put something in the world, as soon as I sign off today, the world will be a different place because this is in the ether. I won't be able to measure how it's changed because it's changed in such a way. I would need like a micrometer to be able to figure it out, if it was even able to be measured at all, like the consciousness of mankind, the alteration that has happened between before I came on the show and then after I came on the show. There's something shifted, but I couldn't measure that in any way. When they say that they can't see that it's neither an idea nor something to be achieved. You don't achieve that change. That change is going to happen. You don't achieve that stuff. It's just something that happens, and that is part of the cycle of our own maturing. That's the cycle of our own having these experiences and contributing to the universal experience of all things. Lost in a world of endless solutions because you can just create the problem. You create the problem, and so there's another solution. What's that solution? Let's just measure this. Let's just measure these children. Let's measure these distances. Let's measure this outcome. Let's measure this. Let's measure that, rather than trying to recognize the truth, which is, if you're aligned, then that alignment in and of itself is going to contribute to the growth of everything. And even your misalignment is going to contribute to that growth. But if you're abandoning your compassion, moderation, and humility, which, if we're grading children, we would have to abandon those things. As teachers, we're not humble because we think we can grade these children. We're not being moderate because we're grading every single child. We're not grading those who maybe need it, maybe respond to it, but we're grading everyone. So there's no moderation there, and there's no compassion because we're pitting every child against themselves and praising an A while we are condemning the F, where it's like it's just a grade. So an A and an F, there's no difference other than you understanding what you need to work on. But we use these as scarlet letters, and we put people on these different pedestals. And so we don't offer compassion. There's no moderation, and there's no humility within any of that.
Yeah. And I think at the end, you're talking about, having dignity. And I had a conversation with someone recently, a little bit about this, not dignity, but, respect the fact that measurement exists. And I think I try to. Like, I acknowledge their job, and with their job, they needed a status update, and their job is dependent on me, and they can't see what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I did take the time to appreciate their job, knowing that it's a difficult difficult position when you're dependent on somebody else's work. You've never worked with them before, and they have no results to show. So walking through the process. Now, I'm not going to continue to do that, but I did share with this person, hey, this is my vision. This is what I'm thinking. I am open to hearing what you think about that. How you document that and how you position that to give your status update, that's up to you.
Martin.
Yep.
Martin.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. And that it's really awesome though. I felt good about that, instead of taking the position of not giving respect to the fact that, this measurement does exist, because it becomes important too, to them, not necessarily to me. And in that way, I think I can have that compassion and that humility and that moderation, and, I'm open to somebody else taking over all of this. I also said, if this is not a good fit for the bigger picture as you see it, then I'm open to somebody else taking over and allowing that to be the place. And that's the surrendering but not submitting for me, because years ago I would just work harder to accomplish all things.
Right.
But that was really abandoning myself. And any system, work, relationship, it's got to start with the individual. I think there's a verse about that. I think it's observing virtue. It starts with the individual. And when we are us, then, things can be naturally flowing because we allow that energy flow. And I think it's when when I tried to be something else besides me, that's when I lost that compassion, moderation, and humility for myself and who I am. And that was a big deal. And then coming back to myself. And now when I do have something like this, I can connect with the other person, hopefully, and explain, even if it feels uncomfortable, this is where I'm at. This is the only place I can meet you from. And then you decide what you do with it, and allow that other individual to do what they do.
Right.
And allow the interaction to kind of shape what is. And it's really, it's a little different, and I'm still kind of formulating my thoughts around it, but I do think that it's possible. Maybe I'm crazy. Don't know. But for me, that's what I've been trying to focus my energy on.
Right.
Because it feels right for me, and we'll see.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that the difference between surrendering and submitting is an important one here, because you can surrender to the fact that they are utilizing a measuring system that you understand and you can communicate with. You can communicate about, at least. but then you don't have to submit to having to like concede all of your work to that system.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you can operate in a way you can endorse and feel good about.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Because and then the last line of the abandoning these compassion, moderation, and humility will only lead to trouble. So when you can keep that compassion, moderation, and humility for yourself, and make sure that you're coming from that place that you can endorse, then you can avoid that trouble.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. All right.
All right. Have a great day. Love you. Bye-bye. Bring on Marianne. Hey, Marianne. How are you?
Good. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
So,
life is easy.
So, mine, it's not really a problem or anything, but I'm kind of going the opposite way. Is today I'm going to have a class meeting, I have a couple things on the agenda, but the emotional one is that I'm going to tell the kids that Mrs. Bergman's going to retire this year, so it's kind of starting the process, because you know that and me and my two paras are all looking at quitting this year. Mm-hmm. And it's the kids. It really, I know Miss Bergman cares, it's a hard decision, even to retire. So it's hard because you really do grow attached to these kids, and to think of, how their school life, they depend on us, and that's going to change now. And life has changed, I get it, but it's still hard. So.
Yeah. And, there's a number of things that we, like when we think, well, if I leave, who's going to be here?
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, someone's going to be there. And we like to think that we're the ones that care. But there are other people out there that care too. And depending on all sorts of things. Like, when these kids graduate, I mean, maybe to some extent you stay in touch with some of them. But that's a very small number is my guess, if any.
Oh, totally.
You know? And so they go off on their own anyway, and so we can tell the story that all of these things align in this way. But if you are, and if all of the people that are here doing this job, your job is to connect, and you've done that, and that's going to stay with them, right? Let's pick a number.
I don't have one. You can pick a number.
36, going about your business. I think that's a good one. Let's see what it says. If you want to take a deep breath, you must first empty your lungs. If you want to make something weak, then observe it first as powerful. If you want something destroyed, then see it first glorified. Identify your rigid desires and meet them with flexibility. The soft overcomes the hard, the slow overtakes the fast. Just quietly go about your business and the results will speak for themselves. I think about all the things that you do in your teaching and with your sign language and with your connecting. You probably make a big impact on people's lives in ways that you can't measure. Yeah. Like you said, like you're dealing with the opposite that we've been talking about. We're talking about Melissa, who, like, the institution is telling her to measure, and she's saying, well, but I'm connecting. And you're looking at these children being like, if I'm not here to help them measure you, then you're going to be forgotten. You're going to be lost. You're going to be overlooked. because you need
story.
What's that?
And
that's just the story. That's a story. That's a story that you tell because you have fears of being overlooked.
Oh, and of being abandoned.
Right. You know what I mean? So that's because you have abandonment story. That's what you believe is going to happen to these kids. You know, it's not what's going to happen to these kids. I mean, maybe some of them will get abandoned, but that's their path anyway.
Right. That's not my fault.
And that's not your fault, right? That has nothing to do with you. You were put in their path to give them the strength to go through what it is they're going to have to go through. And so when you want to take a deep breath, you must first empty your lungs. You have to, in order to take that deep breath, you have to empty your lungs first. And this, you know, metaphorically, what you need to do here, you need to kind of like start over. You need to be like, oh, get rid of all of my story. Get rid of all of the things that I'm injecting into this. And then take a deep breath and then look at this cleanly. You know, identify your rigid desires and meet them with flexibility. You know, your rigid desires are that these kids will be cared for. But the only way that you know for a fact that they will be cared for is if you do it yourself. And that's because there's a lack of faith in the institution. There's a lack of faith in the county, maybe. There's a lack of faith in the teachers that you have seen. And that comes possibly because because you have abandonment fears.
But really, they're number 73. They're being held just as I am too. So
right.
Moving forward, you know,
And that's an opening. That's a doorway for you to bring flexibility into your own fears for them and not have to overlay your fears on them so that can keep you from growing, keep you from reaching other children, keep you from being being an oversight to help more teachers so that you can help more kids because you have influence on their instructors. The soft overcomes the hard. What you're doing right now in terms of connecting with your, let's say, 34 kids. I don't know how many kids you connect with every month.
18.
Feels like okay. So you connect with 18 kids. The hard is that you have one-on-one connections with each of those children. And this is the soft overcomes the hard. By you connecting with the teachers, you connect with more children. Or maybe you connect with less children over a wider region, making your impact on their lives actually reach further into the state rather than simply in one district.
Yeah. That is true. And that's one of the exciting parts of hopefully getting this other job is being able to travel a little around the area. So.
Right. And so it says, just quietly go about your business. What is your business? You've been inspired to do sign language. You've been inspired to, apply for another job, and the job is open when you are ready to take it. To like all of these things are aligned specifically, and it's not your job to question the inspiration that you have as much as it is just to like be curious and step into it. And the results will speak for themselves. You have seen results in your life, and there have been results that you've never seen. There are children out there that you have affected that are out there living their lives, doing amazing things that you will never know about. And that's going to continue as long as you continue to align with your own true nature and do what you do. And yes, you're going to have to talk to these children. And I remember when I was doing stuff for the Chicago Public Housing, and I was talking to the president of CHA, Chicago Housing Authority, And we were having a conversation after I kind of taught this thing, and he was just like, well, I hope you're going to be a mentor and teach these children. And I was like, no. It's like, love these kids, but like, I got to live my life and I have to do the things I got to do. I would love to if you were going to pay me, but there's no money in the CHA to pay me to be a mentor to kids. And it's not that I don't want to be a mentor to kids, but I don't live as charmed a life as I would love to be able to live, to be able to just volunteer all of this time to work with kids on your property. Like I would love to, but that's not realistic. And I'm not going to even pretend that it is realistic. And having that conversation with him is just like, well, what's going to happen to these kids? I was just like, well, that's up to them. I can't, like, I've done my part, and I've done a good job because you've even taken note. So I'm good with my actions, and being able to step away from that. And it's not abandoning them because I don't have abandonment issues, so I'm not worried about abandoning them. Like I know in my experience that as an inner city kid, you can overcome your neighborhood. I know that, it's a good argument to raise money that these kids have everything stacked against them. That and it's true that they do, but I also can't take that on as my own problem because I had that problem when I was younger and I had to get over it.
Okay, so go into when I talk to them, just first off, just give them the facts. So
yeah, absolutely. They can handle a lot more than we like they may utilize it to, manipulate, but the facts are the facts. And they, children are really good at receiving information. Yeah. It's like, but if you tell it to them in a way that is just like, oh, like if you're sad, I'm going to take you out to lunch. They're going to want to go out to lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, they're smart. Wow.
They're not stupid. Like they know how to utilize information and they know how to utilize a situation to get what they want. And it is going to be hard for them because they do love you guys. They're going to cry at the end of the year, no matter what, because they are going to miss you. Because you have been such a part of their lives. Yeah. But ain't nobody could have come visit you in the middle of summer because they miss you that much.
Nope.
You know what I mean? No one's going to be like, well, let's just stay in school for the summer because I miss you. No, it's sad to say goodbye, but goodbye.
Bye. I'm out on vacation. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, you're not that important.
You want to hear my kombucha catastrophe?
Uh-oh. Did it blow up?
No.
Oh, good.
No, that would have been cool.
Careful.
Yeah. I made a batch last night, and as I was, anyway, I'm like, wow, there's kind of a little puddle under here. And then, I thought, I'm not sure what's up. But then I moved it over to where I store them. And all of a sudden, I lost it. There was a hole in the side of the container. So my poor little Scoby was like poking out of this hole, and I had everywhere. Oh, it was a mess.
There were times when I made tea, and before it cooled off, I poured it in, and it cracked my glass container. Because it was too hot. There have been times when I've left the spigot open and I'm pouring it in. And so I'm pouring in sort of, from a hot pan, or a hot pot, and I'm pouring it in. And then I start hearing like it just drip out. And I'm like, what's going on? As I'm continuing to pour it in. And then I look down and I see the spigot's open and it's just pouring onto the counter. I'm like, oh my God. So many kombucha mishaps.
Yeah, this was my messiest one. So.
Okay. Well, there's always going to be a messiest. And as long as that's behind you, You're good.
It is. The poor SCOBY didn't make it, though. It's in the garbage.
Oh. Oh, yeah. If you get glass in there and stuff. I don't know. Was it in a glass container?
It was a glass, yeah.
And there was a hole in it?
Yeah, on the side. I had just gotten this jar from a coworker, so it was a pretty much brand new jar. But it was a new one to me, but not from hers. Maybe it came a little weak that I didn't know. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, yeah. You got to clean up that sugar water, all that sweet tea.
I know. So I had to do the floor. But, there I was thinking as I'm doing it, I'm like, well, my counter's getting clean. The floor's getting washed. It needs that.
It's like, I guess it was time.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Have a good day. Good luck today with telling the kids.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much. If you benefit from the work I do here on Tao of the Day, definitely check out the links in my profile. You can support this show through Venmo or buy me a coffee. You can find links to that in my website or my link tree. If you're interested in picking up a copy of my Tao Te Ching, you can do so through the link tree or my website again. So those links will get you there. You can go to my shop and then you can find, I think it's under What We Do. You can find the shop and you can pick up my copy of the Tao Te Ching and you can follow along as we read the Tao Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Central Time here on Tao of the Day. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.